Yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think it's an exciting time. You look at shows like Rookie Blue, and you look at shows, whether it's Republic of Doyle or whatever we're making. There is no longer a need to hide where you are. In fact, in many cases, the location, whether it's Toronto or St. John's or whether it's out in the prairies, it actually becomes a part of the storyline. Like it becomes another character almost in the story, and people in Canada watch it for themselves. People overseas just see a great story. Like to your point, we actually have an opportunity. This is kind of a golden age, I think, of Canadian television in a way, when the deals that we're making in the States no longer are predicated on us hiding ourselves. Like we sell a number of our shows down into the U.S. Heartland is sold in the U.S. We have a number of shows that have been really successful, and they never ask us anymore to hide. And I think that's important. That's great opportunity.
Mm-hmm. It's easy. We demand now that every producer put a hockey scene in every movie or series, and that'll protect us.
That does it.
That'll do it.
That's vision, eh?
That is vision, top notch. Everything's got a hockey scene in it. I think that to co-opt the expression from this morning, this industry, I think, and I include the regulator and the government, the independent production community, broadcasters, both public and private, specialty services. I believe, as a general rule, notwithstanding people defending their interests would be natural, have had an architecture of cooperation now for many, many years. It's built the best broadcasting system in the world. There's probably more choice here, true choice, than there is anywhere else in the world, because we let all sorts of programming come in, but at the same time, we fostered our own programming. Things are changing. There's technology. There's this sense that, well, everything is borderless now. I think it behooves us, and I don't think this is looking in the rearview mirror. This is looking forward. We've built something great. We need to make sure that that great thing continues to move forward, notwithstanding whatever technological change will present other challenges. How that's done, I think we have to have a conversation about that, but I think from a policy perspective, a regulation perspective, and a business perspective, what we have to do is make sure that we incent the players that play in this now to continue to be able to deliver that strong system, or we will be overwhelmed.
Well, I hope I've asked some of the questions that the people out there had. Our panelists have agreed to take some from the floor as well. I would ask that in a very loud voice, if you have questions, you stand. We can't really see where you are.
We can't see you at all.
Are they still here?
But
is there anyone here? They've gone because of the fire.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Oh, there. That solves the problem tremendously.
4 of us burning in here.
Okay, so who's going to be brave enough to ask the first question? Because I've asked too many already. Let's see. 300 people. There's got to be a question.
We were pretty
I must
thorough.
have done a really good job.
When someone asked Paul what he would give his organization as a mark.
Anything more about dinosaurs? You had enough of that.
Really?
We were thorough.
Yeah. Nothing. Oh, there you go. Good stuff.
Oh, there's 2.
Sure. The question about, okay, so the question is, Paul, your commitment to documentaries. You had the Can West had a stream called Global Currents, which seems to have vanished, so I guess there's some concern about whether or not Shaw Media is interested in resurrecting some of the documentary stream.
I got to admit that I haven't spent a whole lot of time on that particular one just yet. Which is just an honest admission. As you know, we're heavily into the lifestyle side of it. A lot of women's programming, ice pilots on history, and a lot of factual programming that is more in the entertainment genre, I'd say. And I'm not sure exactly how our folks would describe those, whether they consider them, documents or entertainment. I guess they're kind of a blend of both. So that those are we're doing a lot of that sort of thing. Whether we will find a place on Global for more documentary programming, that's certainly something that I'll ask our people and find out what the opportunities are. We do a current events program, 16x9, that we're very proud of, and it's been drawing a very strong audience and doing some very good work there. And a lot of focus being put into the news part and news side of our programming, and a desire to build it up. And I think that that, of course, documentary programming have an important role to play in news and information. So, you know, let's just say that we'll take it back. We'll have the dialogue, and we're open to any suggestions that the documentary makers in the room would have in terms of what they think we should be doing on the service.
Do you want me to go too?
Sure.
All right, well, obviously, you know, CBC we have in prime time Thursday nights. Every Thursday we have from 8 till 10 o'clock. It's pure documentary, and that to us, you know, it's a benefit. You know, could we? I think the question, and I feel the frustration from documentary makers, because there's not a lot of places for them to go anymore as more and more people's margins get pushed and they very much need to, you know, make a business out of what it is we're doing. It's very difficult sometimes to make room for documentaries on people's slates, but we try to, because we know that it's important. We know that it is one of the arts of Canadian television makers, is to make the great documentary. They were invented here. We have the Doc Channel as well, but you know, that's a small service, and it's on digital cable. I think the opportunity in documentary, and I think there's a panel coming up later on today, is an innovation. You know, I think documentary has an opportunity because of sometimes the very beautiful nature of what it is you can make in a documentary. When it's that kind of documentary, you know, innovations through 3D, through, you know, I think HD brought a lot of interest back into the documentary world because of the look and the appeal of a documentary and the beautiful cinematic nature of it. So I think I think there's lots of opportunities for documentary on CBC in terms of our prime time and on our Doc Channel. I wish we had more hours in the day, but we need to actually present a wide variety of programming, and I think we do a pretty good job on balance. But I totally understand the frustration of the documentary filmmakers.
What about mobile? Because you look at what the NFB app has done.
That's what I'm talking about, innovation. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's remarkable the way that they've taken their
they've done a
archive
fantastic job.
Yeah.
I look at NFB should get an absolute medal worldwide for what it is they do in terms of supporting documentaries and giving it another life, because I guess it's like water. You know, everything tries to find its way, and when something is worthy, it gets there.
So here's my dumb question: how are they able to open up their entire archive and put it out there? And they must have wrestled the same rights issues that you guys are all wrestling with.
You'll have to ask Tom. I think I saw him earlier.
Yeah, okay, anyway. That's for the next session, anyway.
It's pretty
okay,
amazing.
another question. Yes?
Where does the panel stand on the usage-based billing issue?
That was one of the other issues that was brought up by Robert.
Well, being part of a cable company, I'll kick that one off. Part of what the way we think of it is that you've got, you know, it's everybody sharing the same infrastructure. And if a subset's using a huge amount and paying the same amount as somebody's using a little bit, what happens is the overall speed of everybody's going to go down. And you say, well, that's no problem. Well, the cable company should just throw in more money and build, throw in another $300 million and just build it out and that kind of thing. Well, of course, there's economics to all these things. So it's got to do with making sure that that our customers are well served, our internet customers are well served, but that the majority doesn't kind of get hijacked by the minority. And this is what the debate's about. It's not about are you for the customer or are you for greedy big business? It's really a matter of how do we serve the customer base, heavy users, light users, in a way that is fair and justifiable. And so, it's, you know, and of course, you know, you don't get that sort of spin in the media. We are the media, I know. But
and there's the problem.
We still
right?
don't get the spin in the media, believe me. There's a problem right there. But it is about fairness across the customer base, it's not about being anti-customer, for sure.
But could you see the kind of tiered structure that he was laying out being the future in Canada? And what does that do to the video entrepreneur out there that's trying to make a business separate from the television business?
Well, I mean, I think it's the sense that it's a utility, and people kind of get the idea that if you use more, you pay more. It's not a heretic idea. I think it's just a sign of our times that the digital natives, the younger folks, feel that everything should be made available free because that's the way we allowed them to learn it. And now we have that legacy, and that's what we're working with. That's kind of today's reality. But in fact, I mean, no one thought that that water should be free. It's you pay what you use, and that so it's not such a weird concept. Will it shut down digital innovation? No, it won't shut down digital innovation. It's still it'll find smarter ways to get new ideas to people, but it will certainly allow the network to perform for everybody. Some people just want to get their email, and that's still fair. They should still get it. Right?
Another question? Yes, sir, in the back.
The question is to Kirstine. Notwithstanding Robertson's tremendous success these last 3 days, Kirstine, you'd earlier this year made the announcement that you would be dropping Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, and I applaud you for that. I just wanted to get a sense of when will that actually happen and with what will actually be replaced.
Well, we're right now in development on a number of shows, and as you know, anything like that takes time in terms of development, and we have been in development for the last 6 months to a year actually on a number of different shows that could fill that slot. And I think we picked up those shows in a world where I don't think anyone had the concept that CBC could deliver a show that would get 2 million viewers in a night. 5 years ago, I don't think that was even in the realm of possibility, and yet here we go with shows all the time, whether it's Dragon's Den or Battle of the Blades or Heartland, or we have a number of shows now consistently going over 1 million viewers. So I think the fix was there in purchasing those shows, because that was an opportunity to bolster an audience and lead it into prime time that way. But we're no longer needing the crutch anymore, and that's the belief that we actually know now as a broadcaster and as in partnership with producers such as yourself. We have the opportunity to actually take over those slots and make great programming and not need the crutch of an American show in that time. It is a contract, and it runs out next year, so this will give us the time, we think, and that's why we thought it was important to make the announcement too, that we had enough of the interest of the independent community as well to know that we were looking for shows in the 7 to 7:30 time slot, 7 and 7:30 time slot, in order to get the right kind of programming out there, because we think it's going to take a lot of innovation and a lot of activity to get the right shows in place, but we're perfectly confident that we're going to get some great shows in there.
Okay, last minute. We'll go to the last question up front.
Given the success of the CBC primetime schedule being all CanCon, I'd like to know from the panel how we can convince private networks to increase Canadian dramatic series from 1 hour per week.
Well, there's only 2 of them sitting here, so we'll begin with John.
Well, as a pay television service, we have a strong commitment to Canadian dramatic programming. I think you're referring specifically perhaps to the conventional broadcasters. As I said, last year we put $37 million in. We license every theatrically released Canadian feature film, and we run that in prime time all across, and it's certainly more than an hour.
Final word.
Well, we've got a huge commitment to Canadian content. We talked a lot about the dramatic program that's really finding its way in Canada and being successful around the world. So we continue to invest and build on. I think the new architecture with that the CRTC has proposed with respect to the group-based licensing is going to help provide some flexibility in terms of where these investments should go. But as long as you've got tremendous successes like Rookie Blue out there, those are the kind of things that we want to do more of. Of course, the specialty channels are a hotbed of Canadian content. Some of them 60% CanCon and Prime, 70% CanCon and Prime. They are, and the programming there is maturing and becoming very significant. So we're very pleased with the work that we're doing in the Canadian content side, and we'll continue to develop it.
We just say the more the merrier.
Paul, Kirstine, and John, thank you very much for spending this morning.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. I won't give you a letter grade, but I'll give you high marks. And especially since Paul and I are going to cut a terms of trade deal just over the coffee break, we hope to announce at 11:30. Maybe Kirstine too. Anyway, great comments. Thank you very much to the panelists and to Kevin. I think we had a great start this morning when you add that to Robert Tersick's presentation.